Hi everyone, it's Penny Black and Jill Foster back with another PB&J card class. This is number 6 in our Permission to Play video series, and today's sketch is our circle surprise, or that's what I'm calling it. So here's a little peek at the cards that we will be creating today. This features again a very simple sketch that you can play and use in many different ways. You can turn it, rotate it, and just get a lot of use out of it, but it has that element of that circle going off the edge, which I think is really fun. So before we start, just a reminder to give yourself permission to play. It's okay to make simple cards. It's okay to do the same sketch and layout over and over as long as you're loving it. It's okay to mix old and new products together. It's okay to be creative but not productive, so to work in stages or batches. And not to compare your cards to other people's cards. Your recipients don't do that, and I know for me that takes a lot of the fun out of the process. Now I have 3 hacks for simple cards that you will be proud of. One is to use embossing folders. 2 is to use quality images. I'm using all penny black. And the third is to use strong colors. So we're going to start with the sketch. Here's another look at that sketch. It's got an embossed background, a circle cut down in the corner, and then you can add a sentiment banner in the opposite upper left hand side. So if you haven't watched my prep video, I'll link it for you down below, but I like to prep for each sketch in advance. So all 10 are prepped in inside envelopes. I've prepped 4 cards for this particular sketch, and to do that I did my embossing on some colored cardstock and some white cardstock, then ran that through my die cutting machine with a circle from Penny Black Stitch Square and Circles die. Now I am going to stamp my focal point images onto Canson 140-pound cold pressed watercolor paper using Ranger Archival ink in the color of watering can. I'm using the MISTI stamp positioning tool so I can do a couple impressions because that paper does have some texture to it. And I did some batch stamping, so I went ahead and stamped. You can stamp onto scratch paper or right onto that card base if you don't want a fussy cut. And I've die cut some flowers from watercolor paper too. Now, just a reminder, we have a downloadable ebook that has all of these sketches in it along with the card ideas to keep you inspired. So if you'd like to purchase that and show your support for the series, I'll put a link for that down in the YouTube description box below. Now I'm ready to start painting. Again, for me, I like working in that batch sort of mode of about 3 or 4 cards. So I've prepped all my cards for the sketch, stamped everything, and now I can go ahead and paint. This adorable image is from Penny Black's new With Love stamp set. If you saw an earlier video with that adorable teddy bears in the bouquet, there's a teddy bear like nestled in a big flower bouquet. This is from the same stamp set. So you've got these little peekaboo bears inside of the box. I love that, how they're peeking out. Again, a strong image, a beautifully illustrated image will make a simple card. So if you don't do anything but have a great stamp, that will make your card so wonderful, something that you're proud of when you are done and will really delight your recipient. So I am painting using Distress Ink Reinkers used as watercolors, like I've done in all the other videos. I have a video linked for you down below with more detailed information about my watercoloring process. So if you're interested in that, I'll link that for you down below. But I just, with these, am keeping it very simple, giving myself permission to just play around with different colors that I love. I'm putting down a light color first on this bow, then putting some darker color. That's coming straight from the palette on my paintbrush. Then when my hand goes off camera, I'm rinsing off my paintbrush, dabbing it on a paper towel, and then going back and blending that out. Now I have grabbed a PITT Artist pen in an extra small journaling tip. This is just a waterproof pen. Any waterproof pen with a little tip, small tip will work. And I am adding in just darkening up the eyes and the nose on the teddy bears. And the reason I do this is I've stamped this in that watering can ink, which is a archival ink. It's a permanent ink. And I like that because it's not a stark black. So as I paint over the top of it, the color really shines through. The details are there, but they're not in your face quite as much as like a coloring book image would look. the best way I could think of to describe it. But sometimes, not always, but sometimes I feel like those facial features of the critter, I don't want that to be lighter or sort of washed out. So I can just go over the top of those with that pen and it really brings it to life. So if that's something you're noticing, either you don't like a really harsh black stamped image, try a sort of charcoal kind of color, a lighter or a gray. And if you do that, if it doesn't quite look right or doesn't look finished, try just darkening up the eyes and the nose on your critters or people. So here again, putting down that darker color straight from the palette. It's very concentrated, rinsing off my brush, patting it on the paper towel, and then coming back to blend that into the open area so that it's lighter. Now I'm going to take the Memento Toffee Crunch ink and pat that on an acrylic block and just pick that up to paint this bear. I wanted this bear in the front to be a little bit lighter. And I just love this ink color for a light because it doesn't go too yellow. So I always reach for that when I want just a light tan color. And I was going to say, I love this image because I think it has so many different uses. You could do it in Christmas colors and use it for a Christmas. You could, I think it'd make a great like new baby card. So if you do blue for a boy, pink for a girl, so you can switch it up for the occasion, birthdays, anniversary. I mean, there's just so many different ways that you can use this bears in a gift box idea. I added a little bit of Spun Sugar Distress Ink Reinker onto their cheeks. And then just some light weathered wood Distress Ink Reinker. Now all of the colors, all of my supplies are listed for you down in that YouTube description box. So if you want to know any specifics, look down there. And all of the Penny Black products, embossing folders, stamps, dies, everything is listed and linked for you down in that YouTube description box for all 4 of these cards. So just finally here, I'm going to get these little finishing touches, the flower. You'll notice on some parts, like on the bow, on the bears, out near the outside edge, I will leave a little bit of white. And I do that on purpose. I think that it adds to sort of this playful, whimsical look of the stamp and actually gives it a more of a finished look than just everything being solidly painted in. Now I decided I wanted to give him a little more shadow up here where he's peeking out from under the box. So I just went in once it was dry and added some Gathered Twigs Distress ink. He was looking a little too light for being under the lid of that box for me. So I'll just blend that out a little bit. And then I will set that to the side and I'll keep on painting. So now I'm going to paint these flowers. This is the Refresh flower die cut set from Penny Black. I've been reaching for these new floral and greenery dies so much. This one is really beautiful. You can do it in any color that you want. I've done some where I just do the center yellow and leave the rest of it white, like kind of a daisy look. Here I am going with some red. I painted the whole thing with Barn Door Distress Ink Reinker, and now I'm adding some Fired Brick near the center. And even a little bit of Gathered Twigs just to darken that up. And if you want to play, I've said this before, painting die cuts is a really fun way to get out your watercolors. You do not have to be as exact as if you were painting in an image and you got to stay in the lines. So really fun way to play with color, especially if you've never used a medium before. I mean, I've used this all the time and I still love doing it on die cuts. But if you have if you're trying some new paints or some new markers even, try it on some die cuts and it just is really forgiving way to get used to those. I also have a couple butterflies here. I just put it on some painter's tape so they're easier to hold while I'm painting them, and I'll give them a little bit of color as well. some broken china first, and then a little faded jeans in the center. Rinsed off my brush, patted it dry, and then I'm just blending that where those two colors kind of meet. You can just keep going back and forth. I mean, it's just a die cut. So now I'm ready to assemble the card. I went ahead and fussy cut my stamped images, two of them. One I stamped right on the card panel. Now this I'm using a white embossed piece, so I wanted a little contrast where the white would meet the sort of background, that circle that is cut. So I'm just using some Toffee Crunch Distress ink onto that piece, and there you can see that contrast that you get then inside of that circle. And I just added my sentiment banner and a couple of heart die cuts floating up towards that top side. Here is another one that I've done. I fussy cut out this adorable little guy gone biking as a new stamp set and added butterflies up at the top. Here I did not fussy cut, so if you don't want to fussy cut, you don't have to, or if you don't have a matching die, you don't have to, and you can use the same sketch. Now here for this card, you can see that I have turned the sketch, and I've just used the floral part up in that circle and let the stems hang down and my sentiment lower. So lots of different ways that you can play around with this particular sketch, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I'd love to know which one of these cards is your favorite. I think my favorite might be the Jazzy Cats one that's coming up here at the end. I just love that particular image from my stash from Penny Black. If you haven't subscribed to our channel and you're enjoying these videos, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to hit that bell icon so you're notified when video number 7 in the Permission to Play video series goes live. And if you want daily inspiration with Penny Black, connect with us on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, as well as Instagram, our website, and blog. And all of those are linked for you down in the description box. Happy stamping!